Alright, hey, hi, hello. How's it going, guys? My name is ZetaRayZod, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Now, before I begin, be sure to like, subscribe, and get the bell on to stay up to date on all my latest videos. So, last we left off, we are back with Naruhodo, but it's kind of like a reminiscent of a case that happened in between Natsume-san's case and Gina's case. So this is like we're in a hospital visiting the Olive Green, the lady right behind Susato's shoulder. If you recall, she was the one that got stabbed accidentally. So we just finished talking to her, and I think something came up, and that's why Susato is saying I'll heal. I don't know what that is. Fiacre at once. So yeah, so that's kind of where we left off. I think shit's about to go down, specifically in Natsume. I think a murder happened in his lodgings. So we're gonna go see what's up. Ah, this is to be continued. I'm gonna be so upset. Oh no, is it gonna say to be continued? It's only yesterday that Soseki-san was in court and dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address? He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. Oh, thank God. If it's to be continued, I would have been so upset. I ended the episode just like a minute before it ended. Oh, I remember this guy. Do you remember the previous, like, 10 episodes ago or something? Like when we left the lodgings of his place, after looking at it, we saw this guy talking to like a Popeye-looking fella. Do you remember? I think I remember this guy, but I don't know his name or anything. What on earth? Oh my, the gentleman is deceased without question. He's dead. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Mr. Natsume. Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why should me? I've only just got out of the court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. Then I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch a worm like this. Woeful worm without wiggle. I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Miss Mustache. The horrible hairlock shows. Shoot! Shove off! Show yourself the door! I never invited you. Mr. Sholme came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Miss Natsume. I'm entirely at your disposal, Miss Mustache. What can I do for you? Ah, Gregson. Here they are, already. Busybodies. Ah, Inspector Gregson. What a pleasant surprise. Pleasant, is it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Sholmes. Crime scene. Ah, I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. Good morning, Inspector. This is a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything. Or good morning to you too, sunshine. Jeez, I'm gonna touch everything. Touch the body. Oi, I said hands off. You're gonna mess up my crime scene. Oh, no, I just wanted to look, that's all. No chance. I know you're kind. You'll mess it up just by looking at it. Ugh, someone's in a bad mood. There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there? Alright, sounds like I'd better talk to the Inspector first and try to curry some favor. Fine. Oops. Oh, examine him. So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he? Mr. William Shakespeare. He was a lodger here. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. Bit of a dead loss as it happens. Or just dead. Oh, Gregson with the jokes. Mr. Shakespeare. It was the landlord, old Mr. Garrett and the other lodger, Miss Natsume, he found him. The fella didn't rise at his usual hour, so Garrett got worried and kicked the door down. Mr. Garrett? He's an old man. But does Mr. Garrett have a bad leg? Yeah, that too. Oh yeah, you're right there. It's just that jittery Japanese hunchback over there accidentally did the kicking. Really? Soseki-san? The victim was pretty hard up, it seems. Even done some time inside for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, no friends. His only acquaintances were the people in this house. Miserable life and a miserable end to it. So, what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene? Well, I'm not saying it's because the fellow looks odd or anything, or that he acts suspicious. But I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the cohabiter. You nearly said culprit there, didn't you? Oh dear. Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again. This really seems that way. He does come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he? Poor man. How unfortunate. Anyway, I can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fella's been a goner that long. Body's still warm. Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. I want to touch it. What a terrible thing to have happened. It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences. So the victim lived here on the ground floor and your room is just 1 story up, isn't it? Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose. So did you know the victim? Were you friends? Were you friends? It's a simple question. What's the matter with Soseki-san now? It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it? Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But did he ever invite me to his room? No, never! On my honor, I swear it! Cool. An extreme reaction. You're probably wishing you'd never asked now, aren't you, Miss Naruhodo? When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. Throw that inspector over there! Okay, what are you doing? What are you doing over there? Can I look at anything else? Ooh, there's something on the floor. But I think I can't look at it. Okay, let's just move there a bit. Zip. Look at him. He's just waiting for someone to pay attention to him. Sholmes. Come on. What a weird sight. Everybody's just like ignoring him. He's like, someone's gonna notice me eventually. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Ha! You only observe to know it, my dear fellow. Investigating! Naturally. There's nothing natural about that pose. Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery? Patience, my dear madam, patience. We've not been here in this room 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened. My goodness. But isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes? Now that you proposed the idea, I believe one could, indeed, see it that way. At the present time, I have managed to draw 2 incontrovertible conclusions. The first, that there was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life. Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Something that Mr. Sholmes said significant somehow? No, don't mind me. Forget I was here. He's twitching. And my second conclusion, giving Natsume a dirty look, is that there was a poison lingering in the air here last night that passed the victim's lips. Nonsense! What are you doing? Alright, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions? No, please. Pretend I'm not here. Visible, ineffable, inscrutable, insignificant. Impossible to ignore. You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail. Is he off of one of his deductions again? But of course, let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions. Present it for your pleasure in 2 acts. We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exception. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time? So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtains rise. For Herlock Sholmes, logic and reasoning spectacular, Act 1. He's gonna mess up again, isn't he? The game is in hand. Cause of death. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Oh yeah, he's poisoned. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate, which contains, you will observe, soap. 1/2 of a sizable bar of soap. I was kidding, but okay. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is the soap set so purposefully upon... Why is the soap set so purposefully upon the dish? Like the victim's last supper, in fact. Yes. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. It appears that the young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking up arms in the form of his cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end, he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast. But London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life is claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. The soap and the lather about the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. Though personally I have a greater interest in the taste of foul candle wax, of course. Wrong, wrong, wrong. He's always almost there, but not quite. Suicide or murder. The cause of death identified. Oh, the cause of death identified. We proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? This single teacup suggests the answer. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. The careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup to cover his tracks. Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. Wasn't that broken because they kicked it down? Though forced open now, at the time of the incident, this door was locked. And the soul key was in the victim's pocket. Oh. In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Alone with his inferior soap from whence wafted an inferior scent. And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end. In tragic solitude. We can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed on his way to the hereafter. Because he ate soap. Funny bastard. Okay, so there was a murder, and he didn't get poisoned. Thus concludes the final act of Sherlock Sholme's great deduction. Wrong, wrong, wrong. There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You are disposed to identifying just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what concerns you? Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think that man would have eaten soap? It's quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but to one so destitute, soap can suddenly appear quite irresistibly appetizing. How extraordinary. In truth, I've tried a little soap myself in the past. You've eaten it, you mean? My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my gut. And did it? As I writhed in agony on the floor and spilt the contents of my stomach, yes, I believe it did. The experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it. Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did. There's something that troubles me as well, actually. Oh? What's that? It's Mr. Natsume. Oh. I couldn't help noticing shuddering and quivering out of the corner of my eye. Almost as if Mr. Sholme's deductions touched the nerve somehow. No, nonsense! Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last. I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the great detective's deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth. Yeah, Mr. Sholme's observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it in an obtuse angle. When he does that, it falls so as to straighten things out. Alright then, let's see what we can do. Yes, we must pick out the keywords in Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions, and discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at what Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place. In that case, are you ready for a second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, For your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. Featuring me, Naruhodo. Okay, let's see. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpire. Okay. Just gonna skip through all this because we already know. Why do you quiver at that though? Poison. Fork. Ah. Well, you can't deny that a fork implies the man is eating something, or about to eat something. Yeah, it's true. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I should prefer to use a fork than to attempt it with chopsticks. And of course, only half of the bar of soap is left on the plate. That's not half. It's like a lot. But might there not have been some other explanation? Something material that provides whether or not the man really ate some soap. Oh, there it is. Other piece of soap. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course. The other piece of soap reveals the answer. It being the other half of it. That's a long piece of soap, actually. The victim's not eating soap at all. But it's obvious, really, for no depths of hunger could drive any man to attempt to eat soap. Right. Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite. But that begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table. An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo, and one that furnishes us with the answer we seek. For London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison, okay? The victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. I'm assuming it's the cup. Mr. Sholmes is still pushing the soap argument then. Perhaps he's suggesting the man licked the soap right and ate it. If soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I'm going to be washing my hands with it. But there's no signs of any food in this room at all. Of course, food isn't the only thing that passes people's lips, is it? Yeah, it's that coffee spill. It's the coffee. Yes, the victim's life is claimed by poison that tainted the teacup. Indeed, cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoners over the centuries. And it would appear that this victim drank every last drop. There's no sign of food anywhere in the room. Which leads us to the immutable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to ingestion of poison contained in this teacup. Okay, so he's still poisoning, but just from a teacup. Poison in the tea. Now we need to find out. I mean, it's probably murder, right? Cause of death identified. We'll proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. I'm gonna just skip all this. The audience will recall the death occurred during the victim's last supper. Why is he so jittery, though? I don't think he did it. The Western vessel for infused hot drinks again. It's already featured heavily in our deduction so far. Yeah, we can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shamspeare was having a drink of tea. There would be nothing remarkable about that. But what troubles me is Mr. Natsume's reaction when he heard Mr. Sholme just suggest it. It's more just deduction than it seems. We must closely examine the scene of the crime again for some more clues. Oh, he's holding another teacup. Haha, so there's 2 people. Did the man dine and die alone? This other teacup suggests the answer. Yes, there were 2 teacups in this room all along. In other words, this is a strong indication that at the victim's last supper, there was a guest present. At the very least, we can see it now with certainty. That somebody else was here in this room last night, taking tea with the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. In which case, what more can we deduce about this possible guest at the table? Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Do you mean to say you know who exactly was in this room at the time of the victim's death? Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. No, I'm not sure like where this deduction's going now. I'm afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon days of eating too much soap. But the identity of the guest who was in here last night when the victim passed away is something I have a very bad feeling about. Well, you can try to ignore your feelings, but you cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruhodo. No, I suppose not. Time to look around again. Empty bottle, pile of books. Glasses? No. It's not an empty bottle, is it? Can I look at it? I can't look at it. At first glance, it seems that the only things in this room are the makeshift stage and the costumes. I overlooked these 3 books initially. I wonder what they are. Let's see. Titles read The Picture of Monsieur Lecoq, Canterbury Yearnings, and A Meal for Gaboro. Those are the books that Natsume bought. Wait, I'm sure I've heard those titles before. Could just be an incredible coincidence, but they're the exact same 3 books that Miss Natsume purchased the other day. What? Yeah, the day of the unfortunate incident Miss Green was stabbed. Soseki-san had just been to the bookshop and bought them. That's right. Now those 3 titles are here in the room of the victim. Yet Miss Natsume claims never have been here before. What does this mean, do you think? I really don't know what to make of it. Shit. How about the empty bottle? It's empty. Empty of liquid, but full of air. That makes you think, doesn't it? Makes me think that you're full of hot air. You should be thinking about who else was in the room at the time. Bother, Soseki-san's quip and response is cleverer than my original riddle. Oh, shit. Here we go again. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books. Quite so, it's no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are here in this room. It's the link to the truth. Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago at a second-hand bookshop. That's just coincidence. In that case, you will be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not? This very moment. No, never, non-negotiable. If you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. So you could conceivably have brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that. In other words, you could only have brought these 3 books here to the victim's room. Just dancing. You're just dancing back home. Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. In short, there's only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in this room last night as a result of poisoning. And that same night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor was you, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholme's great deduction. Well, that sucks. Should've just gone home, bro. Then again, he just came back, so he's just very unlucky. Not again! Not again! Not again! Not again! Well then, Mr. Natsume. Natsume, it would appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard. Again. But wait! Hold your horses! Yeah? Door! Key! Locked! Entry! Exit! Entirely impossible! So flustered he's being even stranger than normal. What? You think that's an alibi? You could have just made a copy. You live in the same building after all. You have to have plenty of opportunity, I'm sure. But pestering me! Sorry, sir. You'll get your chance to give your side of the story later. Facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache. You horrible hairlock Sholme. He really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he? Come on now, don't dilly-dallying. Outside, there's a carriage waiting. Oh boy. Welcome to the Mr. Naruto Esquire. I never imagined not being in this position again, but you have to help me. Please, please. I'm innocent. Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it. And one more thing. Oh, yeah? My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me. Did Wagahai come during Gina's trial, or was it before that? During Soseki's trial? I think Wagahai is his cat. Evil core still apparently unbroken, Soseki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective. My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you. Shit. Well, at least that means Inspector Grex is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now. Yes, that's right. Ah, and of course. What? Have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Gerda, who discovered Mr. Shamspear. Oh, Mr. John Gerda, yeah. Expect we could find him in the sitting room on the top floor as usual. Right. We must remember to go talk to him later then. Okay, day, let's have a look around. Let's look at this. Look at these extravagant bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room. It's grim, shady goings on. This one looks like a king's attire. King? Who's jumped to being a king? Oh, I think he'd be more suited to a feudal lord. A daimyo or such like. With chonmage? That sounded Japanese. That sounded Korean actually. Top knot? Every Japanese man wishes he had a chonmage. Oh, you look wonderful with one. And you've already half the sword. I was just thinking if CH is actually in Japanese vocabulary. I think it is. Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London with chonmage and a sword? You get looks, you get stopped, you get arrested. There's not much in these shelves, is there? Just this wine glass and bottle. And both of them are cracked. Yeah, not much use, are they? What's the matter? Oh, it's just reminded of the Reaper, that's all. Prosecutor Lord Van Zeeks? Yeah, he's so reckless of his wine glasses. I was thinking it's a waste and that he should donate some to the needy. You can suggest it next time we meet. Lol, yep. As we see from the outside, the window is completely bricked out. A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay. What strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in property? It's extraordinary. It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Oh, what is it, Mrs. Sato? If you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose. Oh, huh. Oh, it's soap. Oh, yeah. Looks as though an amateur has broken out a few of them just here. Was it Mr. Shamspear did it, I wonder? Being a lodger renting this room? Oh, look at this, Miss Naruto. On the outside there's a little ledge. Something on it. What? Outside? It is the soap. Ugh, it's so cold outside. You can feel it through this gap. It did snow all last night. It would be cold. More importantly, what is it on the ledge up there? What are those snow-covered lumps? It's more bars of soap. Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window? I have no idea. The pair of them look rather charming like that. Still, it's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside the window? I think perhaps we should take one. There are two after all. Look here. I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here, this soap. Oh. Do you see in the middle there? It's a patch that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but some sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only Great Britain. Looks like the Hinomaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful. It's probably a very expensive brand. Expensive? Then what's it doing in this ramshackle odd room? Okay. Court records already. Alright, and here we have another disproportionately large machine. It's like a meter of some kind. This is a gas meter, I think. Seems that in this district, residents pay for gas as they use it with coins. Oh, I see. Yeah, now that you pointed it out, I can see that there's a slot just here that looks like it'd take a coin. So you mean if you put a coin in here... That's right. That would buy you about 2 hours of gas for lights and heating. So if you're a poor person with no money, you have to sleep in the freezing cold. Yeah, but if you were scatterbrained with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank. Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. There's a little hole here. No. This is gas wall light, isn't it? Must be connected to a gas pipe in the wall. Gas lights, a gas stove. London really is a city of gas. Now that I think about it, Mr. and Mrs. Garrett had an open fire on the top floor, didn't they? Oh yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there. Well, I much prefer a real fire anyway. It's so much closer. Okay. So the bars of soap I think is gonna come in handy somehow. This is some sort of makeshift stage, I think, isn't it? Where does the audience sit though, for lively Shakespeare performances? Actors aspiring to the great stage must practice their art, Ms. Naruhodo, wait for without an audience. In fact, on a related note, perhaps you should set up a mock bench for the defense in your office. What? Then you could practice your art every single day. I'll think about it. If you promise to don a beard and play the role of the judge. Well, if that would help you achieve your goal. This I have to see. Okay, I think we've looked at everything. Oh, except the body. My bad. Most important part. Oh, the poor man. So young to die. Do you suppose he was very painful death, being poisoned as he was? I don't know. All we can do now is hope that he will be reborn to a better life. Yeah, I suppose you're right. I wonder. Do you think that putting our hands together in a Japanese prayer will help British soul? Sorry? I made sure I had a reference at the ready for just such an occasion as this, actually. This book is entitled The Beginner's Guide to Praying for the Departed the British Way. I'll just reread it now. One moment. There's quite a spine on that book, isn't there? Okay, I think we looked at everything. Alrighty. We've got quite a bit of new locations. Okay, you know what? I think I'll leave this episode here. We've kind of checked everything we need to check. And I guess there's a couple more places we have to go to. 3 places specifically. And we're going to have to speak to them and see what's going to happen. But for now, if you like what you see and you like what you hear, be sure to like, subscribe, and get that bell on so you stay up to date on all my latest videos. As always, be safe, take care. And I'll see you when I see you. Peace!